I'm sitting under the island and the lights are super harsh, so I turned them off, so hopefully you can see a bit better.
Hey, wait, before we start, I have a question.
Yeah.
I forget what a moral decision is. Is it like something that like affects God, or is it?
Yeah, so a moral decision basically has like a clear right or wrong answer. You have to, it's a decision that can affect your relationship with God, with others, and with yourself.
Okay. I stayed up way too late last night. Oh my god. It's bad. I'm not used to this. Jeez. If you had it at school, then it should be fine.
Yeah, I have it. Okay. Well, today's lesson is not going to take that long. The note's very, very short. And there's a few slides, if you are writing by hand, there's a few slides that are on there that you don't have to do. Chloe, did you email it to me? Did your mom email it to me? I think I have it.
Hey, Miss Kitchen, I actually wrote down literally every single slide.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yes, Chloe, I have it. Yeah, so remember, I think there should still be the pencil icon there.
Yeah, I really wasn't paying attention to the pencil icon. I just wrote everything down, called it a day.
Oh. Devin, what do you mean? What's the thing that said it's not submitted? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Over here. Okay. So first, I'll share my screen. Okay. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see. You should be able to see my Teams calendar right now. I'm going to go to our course homepage first. So I think you guys probably have figured out. Remember our chaplain, Steve Norman, he left. He's on a leave, but he left to move to Stratford. And yeah, Zach, we have. And so he moved to Stratford, and so we have our new chaplain leader, Ian Duckworth. And so every morning he just had a baby. He's at home, and him and his wife just had a baby. So he's in lockdown at his house, and every morning he's done a morning prayer for us and posting it on YouTube. So I've been posting them. Everyone, all your teachers will be posting them on our Course D2L page. So here I'll start, like, there's our morning prayer. I won't play it. Like, that's something that you guys can watch on your own time. But every day you'll notice that there's a morning prayer video that will be going up at some point in the day on our D2L page. Oh, Devin, don't worry about it if it says on Dropbox that it's not handed in. Because I have a hard copy of it, so it doesn't matter if it says that it's not handed in. Okay. So hopefully you guys are good with your discussion posts and you guys have figured it out. Let's take a peek and see. No, you're not going to fail. You're right. It seems like quite a few of you guys are getting it. We've got 14 posts. That includes replies as well, though. No, Charlie, I don't have yours. Okay. So this morning we are going to go over a note. It's called Understanding Love and Abuse. So remember, we already went over the 9 types of abuse and like hurt and neglect in unit 1. Okay, so there's a few slides in this note that are basically kind of going over that again, and you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to write that down if you're writing it by hand, and you'll notice that that's not on your that's not necessarily on your review. But I'll show you, I think there's still the pencil icon, yeah, on the slides that you do have to write down. So after our daily meeting, because I said, again, it says 11 to 11:35, but I don't anticipate our daily meeting, the first one anyways, taking that long. It's a short note. We don't have a whole lot to go over. I can answer any questions, continue to answer, I should say, any questions that you guys have. And we'll talk about the test and we'll talk about the CCA. But other than that, it shouldn't take us until 11, which I'm fine with. And then after I have, again, like my office hours, so I'm available for questions all day anyways, but like you can email me questions, or I do get notified if you message them in the chat on Teams. So let me see, as long as we can, yeah, so there's I don't think that you guys will have access because I changed some of the settings on our Teams page, so I don't think you guys will have access to the chat after the meetings are done anymore. So I'm going to I'm going to let you guys know, just email me if you have any questions at that point, or you can, if you need a one-on-one Teams meeting with me, if you want to share your screen and show me what you're doing, or if you have questions with some of your work or something, then we can do that. Just let me know and we can set up a one-on-one Teams meeting. Or maybe if you've been talking to some of the people, other people in class, and you all have kind of the same question, then we can do a group Teams meeting. So you just got to let me know. Nathan, in the moral dilemma, it's like a scenario that you read. It was about the 2 girls, Cindy and Avery, that work at Lululemon. And then there's the dilemma that Cindy has been borrowing clothes, wearing them, and then bringing them back to the store without permission, and that she's trying to get Avery to do it as well. And Avery's moral dilemma is to do it or not to do it, basically. So remember, there was a whole bunch of different questions. There was the chart about, because it goes through the C, judge, act, evaluate steps, right? So it goes through the C. The chart is who's going to be affected by the decision, or if she chooses to do that. And then you have your judge, so judging the situation. So remember, it was seeking advice from other experienced Catholics. So there's there's a parable from the Bible that you have to read. There's a passage from the Catechism, and then there's also a little quote / blurb about Saint Therese, and you have to answer questions. Basically, what would they say or tell Avery to do based on what they stand for? So make sure you do refer back to the passages. Don't just say stealing is bad and they would tell her not to. That's not going to be enough. I want to hear I want you to pull specific wording from this, the passages. And then you had your act. So what did you tell Avery to do? And then in the back page, don't forget the back page, there's the evaluate, which is where it says all those questions who did your decision affect? Did you choose to go with what God would want you to do, etc. You did get this in a hard copy version in school, but we didn't have a ton of time on the last day to finish it. So I just found that Monday, December 14th. So I told you guys we would worry about it after the break. But obviously we didn't return yet. So face to face. So you guys are doing it now. So like I said, if you haven't started it on a hard copy yet, that's fine. So just work on it on Word and then upload it to the Dropbox like that. I hope that answers your question. But anyways, so after our meeting today, I'll be available for office hours, and then until lunch, there's pages here in your textbook that I've scanned. So from 96 to 99, I'm going to right click just because I don't want it to take away our page. But if you click on that, it will load. How does love go wrong? So you can see it breaks it down. It says 2 loves, 2 mistakes, 2 responses. So they're the stories of Peter and Judas. So they're stories from people in the Bible. So you have part 1 is about Peter. And then if you scroll down, part 2 is about Judas. And so there's a couple things. And then there's the next part, jealousy, is about David and Saul. So you read about David and Saul, and then you'll also read about the story of Joseph and his brothers. Okay, and so what I want you to do is just read that, make sure you understand it and you've taken it all in, and then you have your break for lunch or whatever you want to do, basically until our second meeting. And then our second meeting, we have quite a long note, not the most comforting of material to go over, but we are going to be talking about STIs and premarital sex. It is a note that is more, I guess, comforting to take in person and talk about in person, but alas, here we are. So we are going to go over this obviously in our second meeting. And like I said, it's quite long. And so we will take some time to go over it. But there is, like I said, it's right here. You can click on it if you download it, or if you take it by hand, it's totally up to you. Sorry, guys. I'm tired. Okay. And then after our second meeting, again, I have office hours. And so since you have then read from after this meeting, you will have read those stories from your textbook. Then there's a chart here that you guys are to complete. Do I have it open? No. So I'll download it. Give it a second to open. Okay, so then this is the chart that you guys are to complete. So it said you read it already, you read the pages in the textbook, and then you have to complete this chart. So I said, remember that reconciliation for this section of the chart means repairing of a relationship. So we go over reconciliation and forgiveness a lot more in our last unit, so 2 units from now. But don't forget that, remember, forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. We've gone over this in class already, right? You can forgive somebody and you can wish them the best in life. You can no longer desire revenge for them, but or karma. However, you don't need to have a relationship with them anymore. Whereas reconciliation is you're forgiving them, but then you're also repairing that relationship or attempting to repair that relationship, so the relationship continues. So don't forget that. So I put that up there for you. So you'll see after you've read, there's Peter and Jesus. There's Judas and Jesus, and then there's David and Saul, and Joseph and his brothers. Okay, so you have to go through, describe the relationship in the passage. How and why does this love go wrong, and what is the effect of that? And then, is there reconciliation? If yes, what is it? And if not, how can it be found? Okay, so that's what you guys are going to be working on after our second daily meeting. And then from during my prep period, basically, like I said, I'm still around for questions. But yes, Nathan, you can print that out. But I'm still around for questions. But you'll be working on, basically, I'm going to give you the time to work on anything that you haven't finished yet. Like I know that we're doing significantly less work online than we would be if we were in class, if you think about it. So I know it's not as much work as we would be doing if we were face to face. However, it's still a decent amount of work for you guys to be getting used to if you've never done this kind of virtual school before. Like when we went online in the spring, it was significantly different and the expectations were very low. Unless you were already, doing very poorly in your classes, you didn't have to really necessarily worry about coming online and being active and doing the work. I would also rather be in school than online. I don't enjoy virtual school. I miss being face to face. I much prefer it. Even though half of our faces are covered, and obviously with virtual school, we don't have to worry about masks, but regardless, I miss being face to face with you guys. But yeah, so you'll have your last block of the day to work on anything that you haven't finished yet. So I know that it can be maybe a little bit overwhelming. And if you are feeling overwhelmed and you need help at all, reach out to me. I could also easily do, like I said, a one-on-one Teams meeting with you during any like our office hours, or if they don't work for you for some reason, like you have an appointment or something, and we need to figure something out for the afternoon, like I can make it work. So just let me know and we can do a one-on-one, and then we can work on something together, so I can make sure that you guys are understanding and getting it figured out. The contact with other people? What do you mean the contact? Oh, like in face to face is what you mean. Oh yeah, I get that. Me too. I agree. I don't like being at home by myself talking to you guys on a computer. All right, a couple things. Actually, to be honest, I don't think that many people that it applies to are in our meeting, but, or maybe you are. Everybody is, for the most part. Everyone will get it. So what I want to also talk to you guys about is, before we go into our note, is to keep in mind, like obviously today has been fantastic so far this morning, and maybe it's because you guys are tired or what, but keep in mind that behavior can still be an issue online, just as it is face to face. Like you guys know how many times I've been frustrated face to face and have borderline lost my mind in our class. Yeah. But that being said, if you guys are, talking inappropriately in the chat, or if you are using the chat to blow up with gifts or something, like, and don't get me wrong, I love gifts. You'll see your D2L page. I use them all the time. But if you're not using the chat during the lesson to focus on like discussion or questions or things that are relevant to what we're talking about, then it defeats the purpose of it. Like someone might ask a question and then it's lost in the chat and I don't see it, right? Because if I'm not always looking right at my phone, right? I have my phone, like I said, open beside me with our chat. So that way I can see when you guys ask questions, because when I'm going over a note and sharing my screen on my computer, I can't see that chat. Like I can't see if you've raised your hands. I can't see any of that. So, excuse me. So I rely on it being beside me, so that way I can make sure I'm keeping up with any questions that you guys have in real time. So if someone asks a question and I've just gone over a slide and then I finally look and it's just all GIFs or talking about BLM, like there's no way that I'm going to be able to take the time to see that stuff. So just keep in mind that if we're being inappropriate or we're using, we're abusing basically our virtual, I guess I forget what word I'm trying to use here, but if we're abusing basically our privileges of virtual school, it's going to be dealt with very similar to as it would be if it were face to face, right? So you'll still hear, from your vice principals, contact with your parents will still be made, and if they're depends on obviously the severity of the situation, but if it renders a suspension, you can still be suspended from virtual school. A, it still goes on your record, and B, they can have it so you cannot come onto your team's meetings. You can't be a part of it basically. You can do your work on D2L, but that's about it. So chat is just being spammed. So Charlie, so if you already have the notes and the chat's being spammed, and you can just keep I would just suggest you keep the Teams meeting open so that you can hear me talking, just so that way, if I do say anything that you may have missed, or you may miss, then it will already be you won't miss it basically, something that's important. But if you go to the side and continue doing something else, that's fine. Race, my Dropbox won't work. Yeah, you can just email it to me if your Dropbox is giving you issues. That's no problem. I have a folder on my computer that I titled student work, so that way I can just have it. Oh, no worries. I think that it should be hopefully different. Like I said, I edited the settings so that way I think I should be the only one. Hopefully, I don't know how or who was removing people from the meeting yesterday, and I have no idea how that was possible because I thought that was only the people, like only the creator could do that or the presenter. So I think I edited some settings, so hopefully that can't happen anymore. Same with like the muting of other people. I don't think that can happen anymore either. So I don't know if anybody can like check and see if you knew how to do that before. If you can check and see if that like if that option is still there. If it is, then I'm gonna have to figure something out. I'm gonna print it out. Okay, so first Devin. I'm not sure. Oh, thank you, Brim. So it was you. No, Devin, I'm not sure if everyone knows how to submit to Dropbox. Like I know you have to when you get to Dropbox. I'll show you on my screen. Where is it? So if you go to Dropbox, like I said, this is going to look different on my page because I created it. So you're not going to see all of this stuff, but you guys would just see these ones. So for example, if you clicked today, how does love go on? You actually have to click on it. So if you click on it, again, it'll be different for me, but yours will be able to click to upload. So let me see. I feel like I think I can see it as a student. I just don't know how. I don't know. It's not going to let me, but either way, you have to click on the assignment itself in order to upload it. Like I see, like some people are able to do it because like their options are here. Yeah, Devin, you did it. You know how to do it. You've already uploaded stuff. So you're golden. Okay. And then Alex, also welcome. Where have you been for a couple days? But if it's easier for you to print it out and do it by hand, that's fine. You can do that and then just take pictures of it. And you should, like I said, you can upload pictures on Dropbox, or if you're having a hard time with it, you can email it to me as well. Okay. So you should be able to edit the, like with the chart, you should be able to edit like the size of them. Like if your answer doesn't fit, you can just like keep typing and it will continue on, like it'll make it bigger. So that's fine. Yes, this is your work for today, Chloe. So the chart is due, when did I put it on here? On the 8th, so I think that's Friday, right? Yeah. So is that Friday or is that tomorrow? What's the day today? Yes, that's Friday. So your chart's due Friday by 11:59. So you'll see all your due dates for things. I don't know why our discussion came up twice, but you'll see like the moral dilemma is due today at 11:59 p.m. Right? Your discussion posts are due tomorrow by, for some reason, 11:30. I'm not sure why it changed. I can change that. And then tomorrow by the end of the day, your Christ-like love is due, and then you'll see Friday by the end of the day, your chart is due. And so you can see everything along the side there. Kayla, I hope that you heard me when I said like about with your answer not fitting in the chart, you can just like make it bigger. I see somebody's hands up, but I'm not sure who it is. And now it's not. You're welcome.
Okay. Oh, I was muted.
Okay.
Is the discussion thing worth a lot?
So.
Because like I don't know how to like answer other people's stuff.
So when you read somebody's response here, let's see. I don't know. I don't want to slander anybody. So basically, like I said, your responses don't need to be like, it's not going to be a big thing, right? Like you can read somebody's post and then agree because they are opinionated, right? So like, what would you do if you were looking or if you were working with someone like him, right? Or like, can people lie so often? They're all opinionated, right? So like, you're commenting on somebody's opinion. So there's not going to be like a right or wrong. You're not going to say this is wrong. You could say, hey, I agree with you on that. Like if whatever Sam said here, I don't want to center anybody out and show their well, everyone can see it, so whatever. Okay. So Sam here, like it says, what would you do if you were working with someone like Scott? It says, if I had the authority, I would fire him myself. If you are thought to do the job right in the beginning, then just do it right the first time is what I would say to him, or just tell him to go back and do it again. Hopefully that would show him to just do it right and not lie about it the first time. So you might think reading Sam's post, Sam, go get her. You don't have to do two, but you might read that and think like, ooh, that's pretty harsh. So then you might comment on her post and say like, hey, with regards to your answer for question 1, like I appreciate your, authority. However, if it were me, I would probably pull him aside and, talk to him one-on-one and reason with him. So that way we can see that it would never happen again. You know what I mean? Like, or he wouldn't lie about it again. So you can agree or disagree. You can say, you might say in addition to, where it says like, the question, you might say like, hey, I agree with you. I would do the same thing. In addition to that, I would also maybe suggest, banning him or whatever, you know what I mean? Like continuing on with a suggestion for, to further that, and something like that. Like it's not going to be very long. It's only going to be a couple sentences in length. So you don't have to like worry too much about like the amount of detail or depth that you're putting into it. I just don't want it to be like, hey, good post, and then that's your response. It doesn't work that way. So like I said, you can give insight to it. You can agree or disagree. You can give a recommendation or a further suggestion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so don't stress too much about it. Like I said, think about the discussion. Obviously, you guys are getting like a level graded for completing it. But I'm just trying to like keep up with, like, we do so much discussion face to face and I miss that. So I want to see like, and that discussion continuing. And a lot of people sometimes maybe are nervous to talk like in a discussion face to face, and this is kind of like their time to shine. So I like it that way. But remember, you still have that 10% of your grade, overall grade, I should say, that goes towards your discussion, your activities, like your smaller stuff in class, and that still applies even though we're online. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go over our note for today. It's not going to be very long. It's not going to take long at all. And then I'll chat with you guys a little bit about your test that's going to be tomorrow, as well as your CCA, which we're going to work on Friday. So don't stress too much about it yet. And then we will, like, once you guys have your bearings and we've got everything figured out for your CCA and you know kind of where you're going with it and where to start, when it comes to actually creating it on Friday, then you can spend, like, you'll have more time in the mornings and the afternoons virtually, like, to work on it. No, not necessarily, Charlie. You don't have to talk in our virtual meetings. Like, you need to be present for them. If I do ask discussion questions, it'd be awesome, like, for you guys to contribute in the chat. But I'm not going to say that you have to say anything. And Bram, your CCA, you guys got it like on the first week of this semester, the first week of school. And then you worked on your planning sheet a few times. So you should have your charts basically, or like your things filled out. At least probably, I'm going to say 2 or 3 of them at least. Because like I said, we still have 1 full unit plus like 1 very small unit left. Hang on, I've got my binder here. Bram, I can show you the CCA, what I'm talking about, so that way you can remember what I'm talking about. I can get it open. Ooh, this This binder is real full. So it's gonna be danger to open. I'm just gonna pick this up. Stop sharing my screen. Give me a second. Oh no, Charlie. Yeah, you gotta find your binder. Okay. If I open the prongs, it's gonna fall out everywhere. So remember, can you guys see it? There's your planning sheet. For your CCA, remember you've got the 4 boxes that you had to fill out. It goes by like unit and theme. So remember, you've got like your CCA, all the different themes that you've got.
This kitchen, we can't see it. Like we can't see it.
Oh, weird. Can you?
I can see it. Like I can see it.
Did you guys might have to click on my face so that way you can see it. Hang on. Let's see if I can figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out from my phone, and for some reason I can't. Mason's camera's not on, so show what you can see Mason's. Devin can see me, Mason can see me. Can anyone else? Can everyone see me? Anybody? I don't know how to like from your end what your computer would look like in order to see me. Chloe can't see anyone. No. The only person you'd be able to see is me on camera anyways. Let me see if I can figure this out. Yeah, it could be your internet. Maybe it's just slow. I don't know how to change it. Alex can't see me. I wonder why. Let me see. I don't know how to change it so that way you guys can make sure you see me. No, Bram, this is your CCA is online. Oh, Zach, how do you do it?
Okay, so like they need to go to show participants.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to there, it says your name, and then they just click pin. So then it comes up as first.
Oh,
that's like everyone else.
Like on the 3 dots?
Yeah.
What if I spotlight myself?
Like, let me check if I can unpin you now.
Does that make? Can everyone see me now?
Okay, let me.
I did something called the spotlight.
Yeah. So, yes. No problem.
Alex, Chloe, can you guys see me? Samantha? Okay, good. Yeah. So if you just go to show participants and then do the little 3 dots and click pin, then I will.
I deserve an A+ for that.
Right. Good job. That is fantastic. Okay. So as I was showing you guys, if you couldn't see before, your CCA, remember you've got the themes. So the different list of like content that you can find. Yeah, Bram, these are online. As well as, so your planning sheet is the only thing that you guys would have started at this point. Because we haven't had our computer program, like our computer periods yet. So this planning sheet is the only thing that you guys would have started so far. So don't stress too much yet, but don't slack. And you know, when we, oh, that's not the right thing. Don't slack when it gets to the point where we're working on it and you have time to work on it, yeah, definitely don't slack on it. So it's going to be due, I think we said it was due like it's the last week or like a couple of days before the end of the semester. So I think it's the very end of January. Where's it? Do we have a calendar? Yeah, so I think our next quadmester starts, I feel like it's the 2nd. So I think the CCA will be due probably the 29th of January. Also, I like this little highlight, the 29th of January. Yeah, Mason. Mason, I see your hands up.
I just sent the file for the chart. I just finished that up. I just sent it.
Okay, is it on D2? You put it on Dropbox?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. So Zach, you're going to work on your CCA on Friday. So you'll have basically the whole day to work on it. And we'll work on it during our daily meeting. I'll show you guys the program that I want you guys to use because it's just the easiest and for you guys. And we'll go over some examples and stuff that way. Okay, everyone can see my screen, I hope. So we are on understanding love is our notes. So like I said, there's some of it that is going to be a little bit repetitive. I also feel like I'm going to sneeze, so give me a second. Ooh. Oh, Mason has dogs, so I think they were just barking. Okay.
Yep.
Mine is in his crate downstairs. Okay, so you probably saw this already on your test review, but what separates love from other relationships? So love is characterized by commitment, unconditional acceptance, deep respect, and trust. So then that's what love is characterized by. A relationship that is strictly infatuation. That involves romantic feelings of deep sexual attraction, and it's a relationship that could end very quickly. There's not a lot of basically grounds for keeping that or holding that relationship together. And then you have friendship. So that relationship is between any two persons who trust each other and they like to spend time together. There's no romantic feelings involved, and it's usually a relationship that lasts. And then there's exploitation. So obviously this is negative, and it's based on selfishness and a lack of respect for the other person. So you can have exploitation in a romantic relationship. It's just a toxic relationship, right? So this is what's separating love from other types of relationships. So love obviously is positive. If someone truly loves you, they will respect you. You should be able to trust them, and vice versa. They accept you and they support you no matter what, and there's a commitment to you. Whereas infatuation, friendship, and exploitation, those are different from love. I'll wait here. So let me know, is anybody taking it by hand? Okay, Alex. So I'm just going to wait so that way you guys can have a second to write this down. And hopefully now that makes sense, because your test review has this question on it. Of course, sure. Yeah, so on Friday also, we are going to start our next unit. So we'll just do the intro stuff, basically, like in probably our first note on our next unit, and it's on it's called To Action. It's called, but it's on social justice, law, natural law. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So all of you guys, not all of you guys, but the bulk of you guys and your obsession with the Black Lives Matter movement is going to be relevant next unit. Can you guys like see my face while we're doing this? Like while I share my screen? Some can, some can't.
Yep.
You can. Sometimes I forget. Thank you. Yesterday, I slept in big time, so I was a mess at our first meeting yesterday. It happens. We should. I'll have Knox come up and make an appearance in our afternoon Teams meeting. He's sleeping downstairs in his crate right now, but I'll get him for the afternoon one. He just is massive, so when he stands up, he's about the same height as me. He's very tall. So when he jumps up on my lap, like halfway, I should say, to make an appearance in our Teams meetings, he just always licks my face, and it's not ideal. He's a King Shepherd. We should do a pet day. I agree. Brighten everybody's day because virtual schools.
Be happy. I got like a little zoo in here. I've got 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 turtles, and 2 guinea pigs.
Only 3 gets outside.
That is a busy episode.
Yeah, it's not too fun.
Can we actually do a show and tell for our pets? That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Here, hold on. I'll turn my camera on. I got my cat right here. One of them.
Yo, I want to see this.
Someone start spamming.
Hi, kitty. Noah, hi. It's okay.
Boys, come on, boys. Hey. And then my dogs come for the cat. The little one, Hudson, he is a Old English Bulldog boxer cross. And Hercules, this big boy, is a Ridgeback Hound Roddy cross.
That's awesome. Big dogs. Kayla, your CCA is due, I believe, I can't remember now, I have to double check, but to see when the quad 3 starts, but I believe we had it due January 31st. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. Okay, guys? You're welcome. So like I said, you don't have to write this down. If you are taking it by hand, you don't need to write this down because we've already gone over types of abuse. This is just a little bit in more detail to show you guys what it looks like in relationships, like loving relationships, I should say. So you already know about psychological, physical, and sexual abuse, and you know what these all are. You know what financial abuse is. We looked at it more so with regards to like elderly people are always a very targeted group for financial abuse. But when it comes to like a loving relationship, like a partnership, this is when they can, you know, if someone's controlling you, Alex, yeah, it is. If someone's controlling your finances, your inheritance, possibly maybe employment income, denying you access to your own financial records, or possibly preventing you from getting a job in order to control what you spend your money on, that's still financial abuse. And then we already know about spiritual abuse, so you don't need to write that stuff down. It's just review. So this is what you do need to know, and you've probably seen this already on your review. So we have the cycle of abuse. So there's 3 basically steps in this cycle. So when you think of cycle, think of circle, right? Because it's continuous. So the first is tension building. So if you're in an abusive relationship, at this point in the cycle, the abuser will, you know, attack the other partner by using insults or other verbal attacks. They maybe will call you names or just like yell at you, like make you feel helpless, and you know, you just try to be compliant in order to calm the person down. But usually they agitate very easily. Like I said, they might yell at you, they might call you names, they might you know, verbally abuse you at this point in the cycle. The second point in the cycle is called the violent episode. And so this is built up when built up tension erupts it usually erupts into an incident that can range from just really severe verbal and emotional abuse to possibly physical and sexual abuse. It can last from just a few minutes, like if they just have a blow up and they just scream at you and like say really awful things and just make you feel horrible, or it can last up to a few days. So maybe they do that, but then they go away and they don't talk to you, or they ignore you, they give you the silent treatment for a few days after that. That's still all part of this violent episode, right? If it is a physically or sexually abusive relationship, the victim at this point in the cycle is most likely to be seriously injured or possibly killed by their abusive partner. So you got to keep in mind, my significant other sees this stuff all the time, right? So he goes to calls all the time for domestic abuse. So he sees, you know, the aftermath of these violent episodes a lot. So at this point, usually during the violent episode is when the victim might be very apt to call the police. So they might call the police and say, this is what's happened. Or maybe the family member of the victim might call the police. However, once we get to step 3, usually a lot of the time, unfortunately, until the victim gets out of the relationship, nothing will happen legally because of the 3rd step in this cycle of abuse. I'm just going to wait a minute for the people that are writing this by hand to take these 2 points down, and then you'll see what I mean when we get to step 3 of this cycle. Because that's the step when the victim will usually either deny any previous claims to police about the abuser or take it back and not want to press any charges. Sorry, I'm sniffling. I was stifling a sneeze that whole time, and so now my nose is running. I see somebody's hand is up. If your hand's up, you can turn your mic on. Go ahead. give you guys a second to finish writing this down. Let me just go blow my nose really quick. Okay, are we good? So, oh, sorry. Alex, I'll give you another minute. Okay. So the third stage of the cycle of abuse is called the honeymoon stage. So remember I said this is why if during the violent episode or after the violent episode, police are called, whether it be from the victim or from a family member or a friend of the victim, this is when this stage happens, and oftentimes charges are either dropped or nothing ends up happening. They deny the abuse because of this stage. So the honeymoon stage. So it follows the violent episode. And at this point, the abuser is usually apologetic and really attentive. So they might just cry and say that they're so sorry and that they would never do it again. And they just lashed out of anger, and they love them so much and they would never ever do that again. And that's when they're very loving, maybe romantic. They do a lot of stuff for them. And at this point, then the victim then realizes and recognizes the person that he or she once fell in love with. And then they accept the promises from the abuser that it won't happen again. However, remember I said it's a cycle. So think about it in a circle, and it does happen again. If you're in an abusive relationship, it doesn't just stop. The abuse doesn't just stop, especially once you are in an abusive relationship with somebody. They basically just keep getting more comfortable abusing you, because then they know once they get to this honeymoon stage, it's called the honeymoon stage because think about in a relationship, they call like that first few months your honeymoon stage, right? You don't fight anymore. It's just all like loving and romantic, and everything seems ideally perfect. So after a violent episode, think about it like you're reaching your lowest of lows in a violent episode. And then if they are super apologetic and they're doing tons of stuff for you, putting in a lot of effort and like being very romantic and loving, then you're going to be at the highest of highs. So it seems ideally perfect again. And then you realize like, oh yeah, this is like, you remember back to the start of your relationship and why you fell in love with him in the first place. And that's why it's called like the honeymoon stage. And so because it's a cycle and the abuse is bound to happen again, usually after every cycle goes through, the abuse gets more and more harsh, because they just get used to, the abuser gets used to the fact that the victim's not going anywhere. Like obviously if they didn't leave the first time or the second time or the third time, the chances of them leaving again are slim. So that's why it just usually gets progressively worse. And so this is, like I said, is the reason why charges usually get dropped, or the victim ends up denying the abuse because they believe them that it was just a lash out of anger. They didn't mean to. It'll never happen again. And so then it's just a cycle that continues. So like I said, my significant other would be able to talk to you guys about his experience with seeing things like this. Scared me. There's my email. I think that's, yeah, the last slide. So it is 11. I'm going to leave it up for the people who are still writing it by hand. But we can, if you guys have, does anyone have any more questions about the cycle of abuse or the difference, you know, between love and other relationships? Those are the two things on your review that you'll get from this note. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, and you're done writing this or you're done with this, you can, yeah, you can leave the meeting.
Submit everything.
See you guys. I'm out.
And I will see you at 12:20. Goodbye. Not for the 12:21. We'll do a pet day maybe maybe tomorrow or Friday.
See you all at 12.
See you all at 12:20. Oop. All right.